Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Emingle, which is a Zentangle original tangle. So coming from the folks over there. This is a grid pattern. And it's so simple and so neat looking. Let's see. I think I'm going to take up the whole tile here. But I'm going to draw my grid kind of big. Kind of have a saying called draw it bigger than you think. So that way, well, unless you want to, depends on how much time you want to spend tangling. I like doing things kind of on the small side, but it involves a lot more time, and then sometimes a magnifying glass, just depending. So anyway. So I drew a grid pattern. I tried to draw a bit of a curvy grid pattern. You can draw the grid pattern however you like. Could even, have where you have like a gradient, I suppose, where they're not necessarily even. Maybe, going from small and graduating out to bigger, things like that. You can have fun with it. All right. So then it's kind of pick a square to start. It looks like almost all of them are going kind of off the page, but that's all right. So I will start here. All right. So essentially, gosh, I have a weird shadow there. Sorry about that. All right, I'll have to fix that for the next one. But you can see my pen tip, and that's what's most important. All right, so we're going to essentially aura the grid. But we're going to continue to aura the grid until we get into the center. So it's kind of like drawing a spiral. Whoops, that kind of went off. And so where I've gone off the page here, I'm kind of using the hollabout technique. So I'm picking up my pen, putting it down. I kind of got close to that line there. All right, let's see. Let me move down a little bit. Okay. I want to keep it so that you can see my pen, and this is a rather large square, so I was having to adjust. And we are just continuing to aura and aura until you cannot do any more. So it's kind of like a squared spiral. It's kind of like squared printops, if you've done printops, which is essentially a spiral. All right, then we're going to do this in every single square. So again, the challenge with what I have done, being that it's larger, is I need to be careful because I can't. It's a little more difficult to just kind of do it in one stroke the way my hand is positioned at the moment. Which brings me to a key point in Zentangle. Do it so you're comfortable. All right, and then I want to share with you what I'm going to do for these little end pieces, so that way if you do something like this, that's off the sides. It's kind of a similar idea to what I have done here. It's just a little bit more extreme because they're just corners. And then this is me telling myself, slow down, because your lines are not being straight. There we go. All right, and then this last one. Now I'm going to have to look and see if I have done a video on the Tangle Puff, which is, I have a couple, I haven't done that one in a while. Like one of my all-time favorites besides the Tangle Flourish, that I just love to do, and now I can't remember if I have done a video on it. I'm going to have to check. You can check. It starts out a little bit differently, but it's a similar concept. But then there's something else that you do that just makes it literally puffs on the page. It's just amazing. So what I'm going to do for these little edge pieces is I'm, imagining where the line would be, and essentially, so and I don't have to do that every time. After a while, you kind of get it. Like that. Now, one thing that I'm going to make note of, I don't know that, I'm going to guess that however you start, you should do it consistently. As I was reading about this, and again, you know, not being the artist myself, so I'm learning a lot of words and techniques and history and this and that. And so as I was reading, that this is something known as a fret. It's an old design. Is that the right word? Oldest classic design patterns known as a fret. So I'm going to look up more information about that, but I wanted to share that. I think it's interesting. But I have seen, you see some of this in like, similar in like, you know, some Greek designs and stuff like that. Maybe not, you know, all the way in, but you see that kind of pattern. So what I'm thinking is that it's probably a good idea. So like as I started all mine kind of going up, and to have them all start in that way versus kind of willy-nilly. Let's see, I'm going to guess that my line should probably be there. And so then as I'm doing this part, I'm still following the, you know, I went up first. And at some point, we'll see if I end up. No, I think it'll just be like this. So sometimes you just kind of have to make it up and guess, you know, because imagining where would the bottom of that be, and also trying not to turn my tile because I want to start in the same direction. And okay, there you can see. But yeah, there we go. And to me, you know, doing something like this and filling it in and being, you know, just being consistent with the strokes that you've been using, it really makes a difference in the overall look. And so this just will end up sort of looking like, you know, somebody just ripped a piece of, we'll pretend this is wallpaper, and somebody just ripped a piece off, and it looks like the pattern continues, even though we're drawing it as if it continues. It's something I like to do. Anyway, there we have it. And then you can shade as you would like to shade. One thing, and I did it this way in the step out, so you could do like the whole outline, and I'll show you a kind of example of that. But what I kind of thought was neat was to put some shading in on these grid lines. And that looks, and then we'll spread it out a bit with the tortillon. But it's one of those too that you don't have to shade if you don't want to shade. It just adds a little something extra. But this is kind of a neat one, especially if you did it a lot smaller than this. It creates a texture as well as it's a tangle, you know. So that looks kind of neat. Here's well, actually, if you have been following along with what I have been posting, this Dillo, that's what this outside one is. I did the beginnings. I did the outside of this on yesterday's video, and so I thought, well, hey, I'm just gonna fill in the rest. You know, with this Emingle, and I did it in brown because this is a Renaissance tile, and I neglected to, what I had initially thought of was to alternate brown and black with the Dillo, but I didn't, so I'm like, oh, well, this will be perfect, so I'll put it in, and then I put the white charcoal pencil in the grid lines, and it looks kind of neat. Something I was thinking, you know, I could put a little bit of, hey, let's just do it, and then you'll see what it looks like. I like doing stuff, you know, kind of off the cuff. Let's just see. Oops, I forgot to do that one there. And I'm just putting a little bit of graphite and just swirling it out. We'll put a little bit right there. And my thought was, well, you know, we get the light and the dark. That's the whole idea of the tan. The tan tiles, we work on the chiaroscuro concept, which is kind of pitting the light against the dark. There's another one. It's not as, I could probably go a little darker. Let's see what that, ooh, so that looks kind of neat. So lots of fun to be had with this one. Super easy, which then means super easy to just lose yourself in it when, you know, there's not a lot of different strokes. It's just the same thing over and over again. So it's easy to get that meditative, mindful benefit from this one, and it looks really cool. So with that, if you enjoyed the video, would love to have a thumbs up, and if you liked it enough to see more, feel free to subscribe and also click the notification bell to decide how you would like to be notified, if you'd like to be notified at all. In the description section, I'll put a link to my step outs and any other information that I have handy, and for your tangling benefit. And with that, I hope you enjoyed, and we wish you happy tangling.